Jai After Dark includes adult language and NSFW content. If you have uncle sensibilities, this podcast is not for you.
Happy Thanksgiving, Chai listeners. Sameem coming at you right before I inhale an entire shake and bake turkey.
Yay! And then... Wait! Shake and bake!
In today's mini-sode, we discuss Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum, as told by one of our closest friends, Sumieya Mohammed. Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum, also known as KMKT and translates to Sometimes It's Me, Sometimes It's You, is a 34-episode drama that has been consistently hailed globally for its relatable storytelling, strong acting performances, and complex character development, which, as you know, we enjoy on Jai After Dark. It's available on YouTube, and we'll provide the link in the show notes below, so let's just get right into it. Happy feasting!
Hey guys, how's it going?
Sakriya Kaal.
Dark.
Salam namaste, Sasriya Kaal, everyone. Man, right before we hit record, Shabnam was like, okay, guys, are you ready? And then I hit record. She's like, guys. God, that was 0 to 100 real quick.
It's my podcast voice.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Shabnam? Okay, so this is a mini episode, right? Let's go.
Yep. So we today are going to be talking about Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum, the awesome Pakistani drama, aka soap opera, that translates to Sometimes It's Me, Sometimes It's You, not to be confused with It's Me, It's Not You.
It's not me, it's you. And this special mini-sode, we're doing something different, right?
Yeah, so we have a special guest, a friend who has pre-recorded some lovely tidbits for us to listen to. Not yoga bits, but tidbits. And we are going to listen. We're going to listen to that audio.
Bits? Whose bits are we talking about?
Nobody's bits, but it's some audio from our good friend Sumieya Mohammed, who we've known for many years. I've known the longest since I was a little girl. Maybe since birth, maybe since soon after birth. I don't know.
Ever since I was a wee little girl, I knew Sumieya Mohammed.
Yeah, exactly.
And I knew, probably delete this. I knew her before she knew me.
You knew her before.
Such a creep.
I know.
Dude. Like you are.
I'm kidding.
Such a creep.
That is the
Kabhi
joke.
creep, kabhi nahi.
You got to listen to the episode with the Ritu if you want to understand that joke. Okay, but no, through mutual friends, of course. But until I moved up to the Bay Area, that's when this circle that I now know, and Shabnam and Sam and Somi all included into that group.
Yeah, so we call Sumieya, we call her Somi.
That's right. I actually met Somi through Huma, and you guys might know Huma. She's
Haldi Huma. It's Haldi Huma. Why have we started saying Haldi Huma?
Toner Terry and Haldi Huma.
Yeah. Now that's going to get us canceled.
Oh, man. Another reason why we're bringing our friends on is to show you the diversity of our friend group. That is nothing like, at least Imran and I. Like, Shabnam, of course, grew up with a couple of these friends that we're going to have on our episodes, but I can't, like, for the life of me, think why Somi would want to be my friend.
Well, okay. Can I tell you? I need to tell you guys a story about me and Somi as kids. So when we were like in middle school, Somi has 2 younger sisters who we love also. We would get together, me and them 3, and then we had like a couple other friends with a couple other younger siblings, and we'd all get together and we'd have what we call fudge, which was Betty Crocker fudge brownie cake batter, and we'd just have the batter, and then we would open a phone book, because obviously this is, when we had phone books back in the day, and we would find a Desi South Asian sounding name of a family, and then we would call the number, and one of the children in this group was really good at like prank calling. We would know from the name, like, where in the subcontinent is this person from? And then we would call and be like, we're from such and such city, and your uncle's wife's brother-in-law has gotten very sick, and we would find some like distant relative of theirs and we would make up this long story, and they would get all like, oh my God, so who is it? Who are you talking about? And then we would take it for as long as we can until they would like, wait, so like, how do I know you? And then we would hang up when they got suspicious.
Simran, calm down, Simran. What is going on? Like, you spent all these episodes bashing Simran, and you're like, you made this elaborate story about that. You literally
just
just
didn't
said
do it for 10 years.
Well,
yeah, we did it for like 10 minutes.
You're like, their relative would be sick, and we would tell them that's literally the Simran playbook.
That's actually kind of creepy. That's true. But we were like 13.
Hey, have you guys heard the prank calls, the Jerky Boys?
Yeah.
When he's like, same thing as Shabnam, he would call Desi families or something, and he would pretend to be like some Desi uncle, and he'd be like, your daughter kicked my dog. I played it for Sophie. Like, she's like, what is this racist ass shit? Like, it was these two dudes called the Jerky Boys.
My dog.
Yeah, that was back from back in the day, right? You kicked my dog.
One black dude, one white dude.
Yeah, very Shabnam type Indian accents.
This is before Crank Anchor's prank show. The Jerky Boys were like the OG pranksters. Yeah, you kick my dog. That's in our lexicon. It's forever in our lexicon.
Maybe that's where Shabnam got it from. It's Shabnam and Somi, the original Jerky Boys.
Wait, where did the fudge go?
What do you mean?
You had fudge in the beginning. You're like, we're making fudge this, fudge that. I'm like, wait.
We would make that was what we would. What did he say?
I said
you don't even have to listen to what he says when he's laughing at the punchline. That's all you need to know. That's all you
that was a pretty good one, man.
That was.
It is a little soft, right, where you're sitting, so we can make this quick. It's a mini episode.
Oh man,
I gotta go.
I have a Somi story actually.
Okay, tell it.
It involves Shabnam.
Okay, I think I know what it is.
Which makes sense because we hung out all the time. Shabnam was not at Cheesecake Factory. Me, Somi, and Huma were at Cheesecake Factory in San Jose.
Because I had to take care of my dad that had dementia, so I was with my dad.
Why are you ruining the story?
Yeah. There goes the joke. Now you got to be all serious now, dude.
No, I'm still gonna tell it. So
go for it.
So I don't know whose idea this was, but Shabnam didn't know what a dingleberry was. And I'm not 100% sure I knew what a dingleberry was, but I did know dingleberry cheesecake was not a real thing. So we start texting her and we were like, oh my God, we're having the best fucking cheesecake, dingleberry cheesecake. And she's like, I'm so jealous, FOMO. And if you all don't know what dingleberry is, just Urban Dictionary it. And Somi, who you're about to hear from, it was her idea.
No, because I had such FOMO because I was like taking care of my dad, which was not a happy thing because he wasn't doing well. And so I was like, oh, like, what are they doing? They must be having fun. Oh,
we're such bad friends. You're like taking care of your dad and we're literally sending you.
But I got a laugh out of it. I got a laugh out of it. So it was worth it.
Yep.
So here she is.
Hi, Try After Dark. Thanks for having me on today. This is Sumieya. I wanted to talk with you all about this new Pakistani drama that wrapped up a couple of weeks ago, and it's called Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum, which translates to sometimes it's me, sometimes it's you. So let's get into a quick synopsis of the story. So the story centers around two people. Sharjina, she's the studious, straight A student. She really has her stuff together. She's the eldest of three girls, and it's really important for her to set a good example for her sisters and just be a great daughter to her parents. And then you have Mustafa. Mustafa is the seemingly carefree, laid-back guy who on the surface doesn't really seem to care about making something of himself. He is the middle child. He has an older brother named Adil, who at first glance is very much like Sharjina. Again, that straight A student, has a great job, takes care of his family, financially has his stuff together. Anyways, Sharjina and Mustafa, the two main characters in the story, due to some unforeseen circumstances that I don't want to get into in case you do decide to watch the drama in its entirety, Sharjina ends up proposing to Mustafa and they end up agreeing to get married. And it's almost like a friend helping another friend out in their time of need. So after they get married, Sharjina moves into Mustafa's parents' house with Mustafa in a joint family living situation. And she quickly starts wondering if she's made the right decision by asking Mustafa to marry her. So as the story progresses, the two characters start to better understand each other. It's a slow burn, friends to lovers story, but there's more to the tale than the typical friends to lovers or opposites attract. It's really a story about family dynamics, its long-term effects on people as they grow up.
So like one of the things is like, we talked about this a little bit in Indian matchmaking. Like there's like, joint families versus what do they call it in Indian
Marriage of
matchmaking?
convenience. Oh, what?
No, in Indian matchmaking, when you just live with your nuclear family, they call it like something. I forget. There was a term for it
Hmm.
because joint family is like the default. So I thought that was like interesting here because it kind of highlights that, right? Obviously, the assumption is she's in this marriage of convenience with this guy that she doesn't know that well, and she's going to live in a joint family system with his parents and his whoever else lives with his parents, his other siblings or whatever.
It's super interesting because the way Somi puts it, every time we watch an episode and then we review it, it's always, where am I going to find love? Who am I going to love? When am I going to fall in love? This is starting with them, with each other, and how they build with each other, more so than
Yeah.
finding each other. I know they find each other through difficult circumstances, but the story seems to evolve into them growing with each other more so than an actual love story, which is just purely, let me find someone.
What sets me off here is that you have the opposite. She proposes to his family or him, right? That's one.
Yeah.
The other thing is he doesn't have his life together. It doesn't sound like he's got to focus on his future or a family future type of thing, which is pretty much a red flag now, like in the
Bad
social sphere.
biodata.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the biodata, like that's a huge red flag. I'm just imagining the parents being like, he should get married. That'll put his head straight. That sort of mentality. I'm just hearing his parents thinking like that, but who knows? But yeah, that seems to be what I'm attaching myself to and trying to figure out like, okay, this guy's got a bunch of red flags. Okay, marriage of convenience. So that's where I'm at with this so far.
Mhm.
Shall we
play a
continue?
little more? Yeah.
So why is Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum become such a cultural phenomena? It's extremely popular, not just amongst people in Pakistan and people that are Pakistani American like myself, and even outside of the South Asian subcontinent. There's lots of fans in Africa and the Middle East that are watching this drama as well. It is available on YouTube with subtitles. So I think really why it's made such an impact on so many people is the universal storyline and the themes a lot of people can relate to. It really transcends cultures. I think one of the big themes that I haven't seen outside of even, Pakistani or South Asian media, it's not even often shown in American media as well, is how family traumas and treatment, especially differentiation amongst siblings and children, is passed on and how it shows up as adults. So in this drama, Mustafa's older brother, Adil, is book smart, traditionally educated. His parents have put him on a pedestal. Meanwhile, Mustafa, who's equally, if not more intelligent, but in different ways, because he's not that traditional form of education and success, his parents have always made him feel like he was good for nothing and not capable of achieving anything. So we have Adil then, who grows up to be successful in the apple of his parents' eye, the golden child, if you will. He truly can do no wrong, even when he is wrong, which he is many times in this drama. There's an excuse for him, or he kind of knows how to work his parents. And even though Mustafa is extremely intelligent, because of these messages he's received constantly from his parents growing up, he's internalized these messages and ends up not even bothering to apply himself because he feels, what's the point? There's a line in the drama where Mustafa says, everyone called me and treated me like a loser, so I started believing I was one. And that line just resonates with so many people. And it's just a message for parents. Don't treat your kids differently or unfairly. I see this every day. The words you use to and the way you describe your kids matter. They internalize them and they can stay with people for their whole life, well into adulthood.
Like, I feel like first I want to talk about how your self-talk really turns into your parents' voices. And to make adjustments to that, you have to go to a shit ton of therapy. And the fact that a Pakistani drama, like Pakistani soap operas, addressing that is cool, I think.
I think that's a good point in giving context on why this, especially I would say just in the South Asian diaspora, is the fact that they're addressing this type of parental upbringing or trauma or whatever you would want to call it in this situation, but they're actually bringing it up in Pakistani dramas. Like, what have you seen? I don't watch Pakistani dramas at all. Do you have some context on like what are the typical dramas that are popular?
I haven't watched any in at least like 15 years. So I think, I don't know. Like, the reason why I never got into them is because back in the day, they just used to be like, you know, more corny, like Bollywoody kind of like love story trying to happen, people trying to get married and some kind of monster in law or like super classist family friction. And so that wasn't that interesting. But this seems like way more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Original dramas certainly revolved around the familial drama, like very specific nuclear family drama. Those are the ones that I recall watching. A lot of it was involved around marriage, like we talked about, but this seems to be more so the deep theme of like treating your kids with respect, and that goes well beyond South Asian Desi culture. I think the most interesting thing about this is we talk to each other, we talk to so many other friends, and like even Shubnam said the first thing, like you have to go through therapy to release some of this trauma. But this writer director is straight up just like, if you don't treat your kids with any sort of respect, then they do become like Mustafa, very wavering when he's younger, no sense of belonging within his community, and then you just end up like floating in life, and then he doesn't know what to do. And I can respect that because like in my early 20s and other people I knew too, it was one of the most difficult things was to figure out, what are you supposed to do tomorrow? What are you supposed to do in 6 months? What are you supposed to do in a year? And that's really hard to obtain unless you have a strong either a parental figure or like a mentor or something like that. But this kid Mustafa was just straight up like, why am I going to even try if nobody's happy with me right now? Like, why would I try in the future? Because they're not going to be happy with me anyways.
Yeah.
And that's just something that Desi people just cannot say, right? Like out loud,
Yeah.
unless we've gone through something. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing I like about it is it's showing like real shit, right? Like after all the glitz and glamour and fairy tale up to the wedding, then like after the wedding, actually living with the person and dealing with crap and learning how to really see each other and accept each other with faults. I think that's really beautiful about this too. I don't think that's something we see a lot in any kind of media, let alone Pakistani dramas.
What's interesting
We keep
to me
talking
is
about biodatas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a interesting mix of these shows that I have been starting where I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna like this. I'm not gonna like this. And then by episode 3 or 4, like, oh, it all makes sense. Like the way Sumieya is explaining this, it's like, oh, that red flag I just talked about, how he's just a walking red flag of doing nothing, makes sense now. Right, there's more context around why he is the way he is, and that to me is the fascinating part of this. Just like Indian matchmaking, eventually, obviously, Indian matchmaking sucked at the end, but
Yeah.
this one, as far as what you get to know in context, I'm on it.
Well, yeah, like you both said, we're moving beyond the biodata, and which is really cool. Like, who is this person actually?
All right, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Another theme that really sticks close to a lot of people's hearts and has made this drama so popular is, yes, it's a love story. A lot of love stories are based on, will they end up together? Won't they? And then the happy ending is they're together. Well, this drama, they start off together. That's the whole premise of the show. They're already together, but how they grow as a couple is really something that I haven't seen before. And I think that's why people just love this drama. Yes, it's a slow burn. And yes, from strangers to friends to lovers, but the way there's support and encouragement, it's a healthy couple, even if they didn't end up together because of the healthiest circumstances. a healthy couple that supports and encourages each other. As the story progresses, Sharjina and really just instills this confidence in Mustafa. She's the first person to believe in him, and he really starts believing in himself, and she encourages him. And something about it and watching it is so healing, for lack of a better word. Also, the character development in this drama, it's not just the two main characters, the supporting cast like Adil and even his wife Rabab, who deserves a shout out. Best character on the show, in my opinion. Villain, yes. Great character, also yes. And then finally, the chemistry between the two main characters is off the charts. It's so organic. They both are not perfect, but we all, again, love that good, authentic, believable, slow burn.
Is this relationship between the two, is it like one of those where the girl is like, I can change him, and she actually does?
I think they didn't know each other when they got married. Then she sees him for who he is, and she's like, everybody shits on you, but you're not bad. Like, you're kind of cool. And even though she's different than him, I think they're nice people at their core. So they are very different, but they see each other for who they are, and they accept each other and encourage each other. And I wonder, just like Somi saying, that maybe it wouldn't last, because maybe as they get to know each other, they realize their differences could potentially be too much to overcome, or they could realize that they really see each other and support each other, and they really love each other even more because of that, right? It's the latter in this case. But I mean, I think this is what arranged marriage, the ultimate goal of it is, right? Like two good people that see the good in each other and that realize that they may have differences, but they can overcome them, and they grow to love each other.
Okay. Well, I'd like to think it's one of those, but I'll side with you. That's more reliable explanation than I'm going to change you.
How has Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum impacted me? So, for me personally, why I've just really enjoyed watching this drama is, first and foremost, Sharjina, the main female character. She's the oldest of three girls. Her dad tells her, you have to be brave and set a good example for your sisters and be their strength. No pressure, right? But as the oldest of three girls myself, just her story and how she shows up for her family, it really resonated a lot with me and had a great impact on me.
Sameem, you're the eldest, right?
No, he's the second.
Wait, you have a sister?
He has an older brother.
I have an older brother, two younger sisters.
Oh, I didn't even realize it. I remember we joked about like you having a sister. I was like, yeah, I didn't know you had a sister, but I didn't know you had an older brother.
Yeah, so I'll say this about this part of what Somi says. This is not in a negative way whatsoever, because it's sort of just very cultural. But yeah, my brother is probably the favorite, but I don't think it's like a very specific thing where she's like, okay, he's the favorite. I think it's just so ingrained in the culture that the older brother sort of sets, or the older sister, whoever it is, sets the tone with the rest of the kids. And we did sort of have that vibe where we kind of had to like follow his personality traits when we were in high school, and he was a little bit older, but he's only 20 months older than me. So it's not like he had all this experience that I didn't have, but it does kind of mold your thinking and behavior depending on what the oldest is doing. So in this situation where the mom treats the sisters with equal respect, like I don't even want to say it like that, we all got respected, but I don't know, it does have a little bit more deeper vibe than a normal Pakistani drama would.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think there's pressure. Like, I'm the youngest, I still feel like pressure to show up for my family, especially like with like aging parents, sick parents. But yeah, I would totally agree that I think there's like a fall in line kind of thing from older to younger siblings, and maybe this is like true in other cultures too. But it took me a while to grow into my own, especially as the youngest, and kind of figure out, okay, do I like something because my siblings did it, or do I really like it myself? So
I think about those moments of when I threw my sister's lunch pail out the window of a motor vehicle and watched it just burst open. So I definitely didn't mold it after anybody in my family as a toddler. So I think I was fresh as a young one. Although my mother would disagree, because she would say I'd follow my brother around and he would tell me what to do and I would do it. So apparently I guess I was there.
You're only a little bit of a renegade.
Yeah. Renegade. All right. Here's the last segment.
And then finally, I watch Pakistani dramas regularly. I was born and raised in the US, but because my entire family is in Pakistan, we would spend every other summer growing up in Pakistan. And so I very much identify equally with my Pakistani side and culture and dramas and clothes and food and everything, just as much as I do with my American side. And this drama, the production quality, it's the best I've seen by far for any Pakistani drama. It's incredible. In the show, also, Mustafa, the main character, he makes video games and graphics. He's extremely talented. So in order to show that on the show, the simulations, the animation that they portray throughout the different episodes, showing his journey, it's done by a team, obviously, in Pakistan. And the work is amazing. It just shows how much untapped talent there is. And just the whole drama, the production, the themes, the characters, everything, it just makes me so proud to be Pakistani American. So that's it from me. Hope you can watch Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum, or at the very least, hope you've enjoyed this quick synopsis and discussion, and hope you guys all have a great day.
See you soon,
Cool.
Somi.
Yeah, see,
See you soon.
see you soon.
And I'm proud to be a Pakistani American.
I think this kind of ties into the entertainment sector having an upgrade in recent memory, because remember in the last episode I briefly mentioned that I had went to see The Glass Worker, which is Pakistan's first like hand-drawn animation studio
Yeah.
in Karachi itself.
I was just thinking that too.
So there is a come up of like Pakistani entertainment, like just being
And
in
art.
Pakistan itself and growing up from Pakistan. And she's not wrong about the untapped talent. Like hearing the director of The Glass Worker talk about the talent that's out there, it's scattered throughout Pakistan. It's not like there's like a specific art school that you go to that you're going to pick apart. Like USC has entertainment. Oh, we'll go to Juilliard for acting and dancing. They don't have that there. So they build it from the scratch up. But the talent is there. So I do agree with Somi.
Yeah, I also think another cool piece of this that she talked about is like this identity piece, and how the ethnicity and the culture from where we're from versus also where we grew up, and how we can take and appreciate different parts of both of those. And yeah, I think we should talk more about that kind of stuff in the future, maybe too.
My culture is not your prom dress.
Get your hands off my culture.
Get your damn hands off my fucking culture.
Keep my culture.
Because he slapped
Keep
too.
the name of my culture out of your mouth.
How can she slap? How can she slap?
Oh man.
I thought that was a really good synopsis. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sumieya, for the
Yeah,
synopsis
thanks,
and the
Somi. This was
summary,
awesome.
giving us
And
all
also
the
to the
hints.
audience, we're not that aggressive about getting to know our culture, obviously, because we're doing this podcast. So
We're
we're
casually
just being
cool. Casually cool.
assholes
So
a little
we're
bit.
like,
Yeah.
we learned a lot. We know a lot from previous years, but as you get older and you move into your 30s and 40s, I'm in my 30s. These guys are
I
in
don't
their
know.
40s.
I'm in my 20s.
So it's sort of difficult to retain everything that we grew up with and implement it into our lives. The only final thing I'll say is I was just thinking about this in terms of like arranged marriage versus finding each other, and these two are going to get married and they're going to live together throughout all these episodes. I feel like if your parents or whoever's raising you don't fulfill you for whatever reason, like not because they're mean or strict, but just you guys don't get along, or you have completely separate vibes, or they don't raise you and you find some other stuff, those people tend to get a lot more vested into their marriage. And the way Somi says that these two grew up together within the marriage, it makes a lot of sense considering what Mustafa's background is and how he grew up.
Mhm.
Because they basically say you're a loser. So he's like, okay, then I'm going to make my marriage the best marriage. I don't actually know if he says that, but it does kind of seem like this Pakistani drama trends towards like a lot of positivity within their marriages.
But that's interesting what you said, because it's almost like because of this sort of history that they have coming in, they not only have to grow as a couple, but they're also building up each other's self-esteem, which can create a lot of love. But it's also, I think, like a lot of work too.
It's a lot of work. Yeah. And like there's
Yeah.
going to be some toxicity and stuff that comes up into a relationship like that. But that's,
Yeah.
I know we're talking about a fictional episode, like these two are real, but I mean, I don't think this situation's like all that unique, right? Like to go live with another, like a joint family, like you said. So yeah, it's kind of interesting.
I don't think the joint family is such a big problem though. Like over in Pakistan, especially, like it's still
it's not.
like it's still part
I
of
don't
the
think it's a
culture.
big problem. I'll say this on that is like you have to adjust to having a roommate, right? So if you're getting married, you're adjusting your marriage, then you're adjusting to all these other sort of housemates, roommates, right? Like the more people there are, it's just harder. It's just more to do, you know? There's just more personalities. So it's not necessarily like, oh, this is bad or this is good. It's just more adjustment. So,
well, on that note, I hope everybody enjoys their turkey with their families today.
That's right. Happy Thanksgiving for those that are in the U.S. And if you're outside the U.S., have a great weekend. Make sure you volunteer, donate to your local charity, and, feed the needy wherever you can, right? Like that's what we're going to do. Right, Sameem? Shabnam?
Yeah. And think about something you're grateful for. Yeah. Like I'm grateful for this podcast and you two weirdos.
It's really nice.
Thanks.
Imran. I'm actually super grateful for this podcast as well. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
I'm
out of here.
Later.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and rate us. 5 stars only. It's the astrology and the astronomy. Join us again for next week's episode, What the Heck, Mehek? A true crime story about Mehek Bukhari, former TikTok influencer, and her mom, Ansreen, the UK's first mother-daughter double murderers. Until then, happy Thanksgiving and Jai out.
This episode was produced, edited, marketed, and created by Shabnam, Captain Ron, and Sameem of Jai After Dark, LLC, in association with Great Pods.